This morning we talked about leadership, surrender, career growth, stewardship, and what it truly means to build in God's economy. We didn't get to talk yet about what? Right. And now we're shifting into a conversation that is deeply important for so many professionals and leaders in this room. Because ambition, calling, relationships, marriage, and career don't exist separately. They all shape each other. So as conversations unfold, we encourage you to engage through Slido. So continue engaging. I've seen some of these questions, really marvelous questions. So continue engaging. Upvote the ones that you actually want the moderators to ask and address during that discussion. So moderating this next discussion is Deanna Christiansen, Senior Director of Professional Services, and joining her is Racheal, Chief Strategy and Innovation Officer at Elections Ontario, and Anu Oladele, Data Engineering and Business Intelligence Executive. You know what to do. Please help me welcome in the best way you know how. Let's go!
Wanting a place to hide this weary soul, this bag of bones, and I try with all my might, but I just can't win the fight. I'm slowly drifting.
Well, thank you, everyone. Thank you, and after lunch, let's hope this is an exciting session. But before we actually begin, let's get to know Anu and Racheal a little bit. Now, this is going to be a series of questions that's nonverbal, so pointing, okay? You guys ready?
Can you hear me? Yep.
So who apologized first after a fight? Who is more patient?
Absolutely. Yes, for sure.
Who is the funny one?
Maybe. Yeah. I'll give it to him, maybe.
Who's the better cook?
Oh, me. He can cook, though, but he's like, you just cook better.
Who takes longer to get ready in the morning? Okay, who's grumpier in the morning?
Yeah.
Oh, actually, you know what?
In the morning?
Yeah.
In the morning.
Oh, I'm the one who gets up early, so.
Who's more stubborn?
More what?
Stubborn.
I definitely am. I am not stubborn.
Who's the social butterfly?
So, me. Absolutely me.
Who requires more attention? Who plans more family events?
Oh, me. 100%.
Who never forgets an important anniversary?
I think we're both of us, yeah.
All right, well, thank you for sharing that with our audience. So, I would like us to take a look back at the start of a specific moment when you both realized doing both, building a career and love, was going to cost you something you hadn't foreseen. How was your faith in Christ take you through that season? Anu?
Thank you for having us, first of all. This has been fantastic to be able to participate in an event like this that allows us to express our faith with what we do. The moment that you asked about, right away, I'm going to say kids, the first kid. That's going to be a running theme through my responses. Okay. But, once a kid or kids come into the picture, it's a big change. There's no amount of prep that you can have for that. Your time goes, just how you think, how you interact goes away. And with kids, throughout all the stages, which we're still going through, you need God for sure.
We all need God with kids.
Yes. So, I think our first kid and both of them, having them, they're really life-changing experiences. And your thinking shifts, how you approach things shift, and I think you learn to lean more on your faith and to trust God more.
Racheal?
Yeah, definitely kids, for sure. Me and him were together for about 8 years before we had kids. So, we had the opportunity to sort of grow up together, have our separate lives, but have a life together as well. And we got to spend a lot of time together. We traveled and we did all kinds of things together. And then after 8 years, you think you're ready for kids. And then when the kids come, it's a whole different story. And so I think that first kid for sure hit us really differently. I don't even know if we knew what we were expecting. We are both in very high, fast-paced jobs. We were building our careers. And I remember in the beginning when people were like, oh, your first kid, you should rest now. And I was like, whatever, I'm in IT. We work all day and night. It'll be no big deal. But that first kid hit us hard. I think looking back, that's probably one regrets of my career when I look back. Because that first mat leave, I didn't know what to expect. And I think when you have kids, you get to know yourself really well. You get to know who you are and what you need to be able to thrive with a partner and to have children, because your life essentially is not yours anymore. It belongs to these other people, and all the things that you want to do sometimes get to put on hold. And so my first maternity leave was really hard. It was really hard for me. I was at a part of my career where I was really focused. I was really enjoying it. I figured out I needed that mental stimulation as part of who I am. And so being on maternity leave, I never really settled in. I was always really focused on getting back to work, and so I really never enjoyed myself. And I know, and looking back, I can't even imagine what his experience was like, because obviously he probably spent a lot of time worrying about me and making sure I was okay. And I was a mess. I was a disaster during that maternity leave. And so I can't even imagine his perspective of what that felt like, but I was so focused on just going back to work. And so I went back to work after 10 months, and I realized at that time that I need the balance. I need that mental stimulation, but I do need my kids and my family at the same time. And so, my second mat leave, I got to plan a little bit better of how I could utilize that time. But again, it's in times like that faith comes in play, and that partner, knowing the person that you're with, and that person getting to know you to get you through those hard times. And then if you make it to the other side, I said after that first kid, we're good. Until the second one came.
And leaning into that, actually, depending on your partner, because having children, having that faith, and you're building your career at the same time, the oxygen in the room gets less. Anu, how did you support Racheal in that with faith and in grace? How did that transpire in that season?
Yeah, it's, I'll try to get to the heart of the answer. Ultimately, it's about just continually showing up. There's some times where trying to find that balance in, what we both understood that we wanted, and we'll probably get into some things about ambition later. I actually loved the session that I heard. I think Sharon and team were up here, and they were talking a little bit about ambition, and we had ambitions. There are things we wanted to do, but we also had different perspectives. I mean, we talk about mat leave. I felt like we were blessed to live in a country where you could take 12 months off. And that was just an assumption on my side that she will take 12 months off. So, I did everything I could to ensure that we could manage those 12 months with her off. But it was just an assumption. We didn't have a conversation that I actually don't want to be sitting at home for 12 months.
He found out the hard way.
Yeah. And I found out
He leaned in Christ the hard way, right?
I found out the hard way. You get to a point where you have those moments where we had a lot of opportunity to support each other. So I'd look at her and I'd be like, "You're a wreck. You need to go to bed." Okay, so we did this thing called shifts, where she'll take 2 nights off, and I'll be the one to wake up to feed the baby, and so on and so forth. And then some nights I'll be sitting in there in the nursery and I'll be like, "Man, why did I agree to do this? I have to go to work tomorrow." But you find God in those moments, right? You look up and you're like, "Yeah, God, you gotta help me, because I don't know how long I can do this for." But you do. You find God in those moments, and then there's a trust that if you lean on God, like He's brought us here this far, He'll get us through to the other side. And communication is also a big part, but again, that will come out when we learned the hard way. There's a lot of assumptions that you make about how things should look, and then we realized that we need to vocalize things more. Well, maybe I did. She talks, I don't. I just think about stuff. So I learned how to vocalize and express and share, and then we communicate better. And it's a constant reminder. It's not like you figure it out and then you keep going. It just, you have to constantly remind yourself. But again, God is at the heart of that, because He puts things in your heart that help you get to that next place. And yeah.
I actually think it was probably a lot harder for him than me because, throughout both of our careers, I think my career took me away from the house a lot more than his. So, especially when our kids were young. So he probably spent a lot more time while I was away for traveling for work or whatever the case may be with the kids and providing that support. And looking back now, he never complained. He just pick off where I left off all the time. And so he gave me those opportunities to grow my career and do all the things that I kind of wanted to do while he sort of helped and managed with the kids, which sometimes is not traditional in a lot of relationships, especially us being a Nigerian relationship. And so I have a lot of gratitude towards him and towards what he allowed me to accomplish in my career. And I'm sure, again, thinking from his perspective, what he had to endure and suffer, again, probably God helped him get through it during those times of, being with the kids. And, he's an introvert and I'm an extrovert. So I'm the one who's always like loud and he's more quiet in the background, providing that support. But I think all throughout, even during the hard times, I always know that he's got my back. I laugh about it that he hates seeing me unhappy. So he would do everything to make sure that I'm happy at all times, which again, I know. I can tell you right now, he's dying on the inside. But he's definitely been a great support. And so having that true partner, like a true partnership where you don't even have to say the words, and that person allows you to be who you are and do the things that you need to do, has been really, really critical for us. It's been 23 years now.
Woo! Give a hand for that.
I try to get her not to say anything that would make me uncomfortable up here. That didn't work.
I wanted to lean into that, what she said. I knew. So we're going to make you uncomfortable, right? And in just listening, was there a moment when Christ didn't feel like a comfort? It felt like a correction, a moment where you were sure you were right, your career mattered, your ambition was justified, and something just stopped you in that moment. What was that moment? What was that season?
I think I'd say the second mat leave, right? The first one, I got past the, well.
Am I crazy?
Who are you to assume that just because things are the way they're designed, there's 12 months available, she's going to do that. I think we kind of got past that. But God was going to up the ante, like on the second one, right? So on the second one, my lovely wife decided that she was going to go for an MBA. Yeah. And I'm like, right? So I'm going to have this baby, and I got it all figured out, My mom is going to be here, and we're good to go.
Tell us more.
Yeah, so, and that was where's the comfort? Like, we talked about this. How is this helping me out? It was challenging a lot of those norms, challenging a lot of those norms that, as a man, I should be out there and doing the things and fending for the family the way I understood we're supposed to be. Yeah, go out and make the money, bring it. The woman is going to take care of the kids. But it also taught me about what ambition really is. Because I think when we started off, we were both ambitious. We had a certain sense of what we wanted to achieve. And I'll speak for myself. Obviously, when I look at her now, she's very clear around the why. For me, in all truthfulness, I think it was probably more about, I'm good at this, I could do it, so I'm going to do it to the best ability that I can, versus what is the real purpose? What are you building for? And when I look back now at where I'm at, spending that time with my kids, allowing her to flourish, has actually become part of what my purpose is. So where I look at where I sit today, where I look at
Renew your purpose.
yeah, where I look at where I sit today, you know, thinking about how I look at my community, trying to invest in youth development and education, trying to think about how to support my family legacy and so on and so forth. I think those moments were critical in shaping that. Yeah, and it just tells me, I'll leave it here. There's a gentleman on LinkedIn that I read a lot of his writing, beautiful stuff. Dr. Tunde Oyewole, I think is his name, Okewole. He writes just, and there was one on purpose, and he talked about sometimes purpose is not a revelation. It's about how you move differently with what you've been given and what you have. And you know, some of us are blessed to have our purpose, you know, revealed to us.
Right.
But many of us have to. It has to be formed as we work with what we have. And I think those moments are ultimately what's gotten me here. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, thank you for that. Racheal, you want to weigh in on that?
Yeah, and it's always good hearing the other person's perspective because sometimes you see it just from your perspective. You know, during my first mat leave, going through that period of time and realizing what I needed to be me, I planned better for the second, well, better for myself, not for him. And so for the second mat leave, I did my MBA. And so, you know, we had a 3-year-old and a 3-month-old at home, and I was going to do my MBA on mat leave. And for me, it gave me the balance I needed. I needed that mental stimulation, and I also needed the family. And so I think looking back, he didn't mention at the time, I didn't even talk to him about it. I just went to do it. And for me, I always say I'm a project manager at my core. I'm a problem solver. And so I came up with this whole plan. Okay, my mom's going to do this, and then you're going to do this, blah, blah, here's the plan, and away I went. Versus actually having that conversation with him of like, this is why I want to do it and what it feels like. And so I knew he was uncomfortable, but he just supported. He didn't complain. He just supported in the background. And during my mat leave, I did an international program where I traveled the world and did all these things while he was home with a 3-month-old and a 3-year-old. And I would call him sometimes, and I could just see their faces. And here I am about to get into the bar and go have a good old time. And they're like, and I would just be like, oh, okay, I'll call you later. But you know, he was there, and I know it was really hard for him at that time, and he was trying to figure out himself as well. But he gave me the space and the time to do my thing and kind of figure it out. And I think it was years later before we actually even took a look back and realized the impact that actually had. Because at the time, I was just super focused. I was super focused on what I wanted to do and how I wanted to do it. I thought he was okay. I thought the kids were okay. My mom was there giving him support. And I remember at the time where he said, you know, I didn't necessarily plan to raise the kids with your mom. Like, it was supposed to be you and I together. And so, yeah. And so, you know, seeing it from his perspective at that time. But again, having that partner who trusts you, who you have a trust in, and you can get through those moments and make it to the other side and be better for it on the other side.
Yeah.
By the way, I think what I actually said was, who wants to live with their mother-in-law, right? But looking back now, man, she's a godsend. I mean, her mom is just amazing. You know, it's a funny story. I don't know, 12 years later, 3 weeks ago, her mom walks in the house and was like, hey, how are you? How's your daughter? And I was like, oh my God, I can't even deal with this. I don't want to deal with this. She just wants to do whatever she wants. She wants to be out there. And she like calmed me down, and she sat me down. She's like, I'll talk to her. I'll take care. And I was just like, thanks, Mom. So yeah, it all kind of comes back full circle, right?
What he's not telling you guys too is we have a 14-year-old daughter and him. And my poor daughter, now she's 14. She wants to go out and do things, and he's having a meltdown. And so, yes, my poor mom had to she came to talk to me. I was like, Mom, stop. And let me tell you about my mom, okay, and this man. I can't even complain about anything. It's like, oh no, he's such a very nice man, such a good father. No, don't worry. I'm like, whose side are you on here? Like, what is happening? Like, it must be my mom. But again, I think that goes to the testament of, you know, the kind of husband, father that he is, and it shows to the people around us.
Aw, thank you for that. And in listening to that, great sacrifice. right? Great sacrifice ends up in you moving forward in the relationship and the marriage, right? So at what moment your partner is saying all these great things, the highest pressure, like when you look back, that 23 years, what's that moment that you really leaned into faith and into Christ?
Yeah, I mean, I said kids were
Not
going to
the
be a
NBA.
running theme, but you know, it's really around shared values. When we were together before kids, it was much easier to communicate those shared values without even necessarily saying it. But when kids came in the picture, the same approaches didn't work anymore. You had to talk. So I'm like, I don't want her going out, like, and she's like, what's wrong with that? It's fine. But we don't talk about those things. So then my daughter will play into that. She'll be like, I'm not asking dad, I'm gonna go ask mom. And then I'm like, what are you doing? Like, why is she going out? So I, you know.
Okay, no, let me even tell you what
But
you
to be fair, it's like a 13-year-old wants to go out and come back home at like 8 o'clock. Like, that doesn't make sense. Like, to me, I know.
Okay.
Anyways, we're not talking about that. What was your question again?
My husband says things like, I don't even know why they need friends. So why do they need friends? Coming from the introvert, and the two extroverts are like, are you kidding me?
Sorry, I digress. I need to
That's
turn
all right,
that
you
off.
can digress.
Tell me again, Mark.
Well, I'll move on to another question. How about alignment? You both are very ambitious. You're raising a young family. Love is at the center. You've grown in that through Christ, through faith, right? How does it look like a day when you wake up? I wake up on a Tuesday morning. What does it look like for Anu and Racheal? Sure the audience wants to know.
Go for it.
What was the question? So what does a regular Tuesday look like?
What's on a regular Tuesday? Both ambitious.
So I'll give you the dynamics in our household. There's 4 of us.
Yeah.
The 2 of us and 2 kids, 14-year-old and a 10-year-old. And me and my daughter are pretty extroverted, my son too. And then there's him, who's a very complete introvert. And so I always say, you over the years, you get to know your partner and who they are and the things that you need from them. And you know, and this is advice I give people all the time. You can't expect your partner to be everything to you, right? You need different people in your lives to satisfy different needs. And you know, I learned early on, my husband doesn't really like talking. He's not a big talker. And so when I go ask him for questions, I know, like, it's one and a follow-up. That's it. And then you're cut off. In the beginning of our relationship, I remember used to getting like annoyed, like, what the hell? Like, just tell me or like talk more. But now I really understand who he is and how he operates, and so what that looks like. And so I think in our household, we have a really good dynamic of understanding who everyone is. For me, I am the, like, you know, happy-go-lucky and do all the things. And he's I know is extremely principled on everything. And so that's how he operates, and especially with the kids, super principled. But it's this exterior shell, but he's just a big teddy bear on the inside, really. And so he really is. And so, you know, we have different seasons. We have periods of times where, you know, we're both super busy and we don't really have the amount of time we need to connect with each other, and we're in and out. So I'm out of the house before anyone actually even wakes up. And so sometimes I'll just like grab the blanket off of him and run out the door because out of anger that they're all still sleeping. Even when I have to leave the house. But then when I get home, you know, I know he's there, he's with the kids and doing all the things that we need to do. And so, you know, I think we have a great balance, and we've gone to a point where there's no more scorecards of like, well, I did this and then you have to do this. It's really who needs to do what to make the household run, right? Where does the partnership stop? Where does thank you. You know, we pick up after each other, right? We don't have to say it. There's just the signals. Like I know there's some things he gets annoyed about, but he'll just do it because we're at that point where we understand we're here to just kind of support each other and make the days and do the best that we can. Especially now with our kids older, there's activities every night. Our schedules are mismatched. So we have different seasons. We have seasons where we're super connected and we know everything going on, and there's seasons like where we are not, where we are just literally flying by in the middle of the night. And I think during those seasons, we could tell the impact it does have on our relationship, and it does have. And so just getting ourselves back to, getting us centered again, back to where we need to be to make sure that we're on the same page. But again, I think in those moments, I think we always know at the back of our minds that we got each other. And he's got my back, I got his back, and we'll do what we need to do to kind of make the household run.
Beautiful. Anu, how about a Friday morning? She gave me a Tuesday morning.
Friday
How about
morning?
A Friday morning, Anu?
I'd say that just building on what Racheal shared, really it's about trying to step into areas where we're both, we have strengths. She's really good at connecting with the kids emotionally. So I always say, I'm at home many times when the kids come home from school, and I'm like, hey, how was school? Fine. What'd you do? Nothing. And then Mom comes in and about when she does, and the kids are flying down the stairs like, Mom, here's what happened. And I'm like,
What's going on?
and I do this every week, and I'm like, what do I need to do differently? Like, I've been here for 3 hours. No one is telling me anything. I don't get it. So I finally figured out that that's not my strong suit, so I just let it be. I think when you say, coming back to the parts where things kind of get perhaps maybe misaligned, because we get into what we need to get done, right? Those seasons come. The communication is important for us. And this is the part where I mentioned earlier, it's not like we have it down packed. At some point, somebody has to hit pause and go time out. Like, this is not working. And that's always her, because I would say it. I would just be
She
like,
has the plan.
Yeah. So she's the one that would say, hey, we need to talk about this. Like, what are you feeling? What are you thinking? And I'm like, I don't want to talk about it. Like,
I have to pull it out of it.
But if every Friday morning could be the way I wanted it, I'd be like, you can stay home today. You don't have to go into the office. Like, use one of those work from home days.
Yeah.
But we go through the weeks. We try to be there and step in where there might be gaps and filling for each other. And that's an everyday thing until it gets kind of off track, and then one person pulls us back to make sure we get on track. So.
That's awesome. That's awesome. As we wrap up, we talk about faith, we talked about Christ. I want to talk about love. Love in the marriage, not the career, but love in the marriage. And you can, for me, you're both extraordinary. 23 years of love. What's the advice that when you look back that you can share with our audience? One little piece. Not a framework, Racheal, not a plan. Just an advice. Like you look back and that's that truth about love, because I believe love solves everything if we're truly in that love space, right? So what would you guys like to share?
I would say get to love people for who they are and not for who you want them to be. Right?
Amen.
You spend a lot of time in the beginning of a relationship wanting that person to do these specific things that you believe should be the things. Like, I need you to love me this way, or do this, or be this person, or do that thing. And you spend a lot of time, well, you're not listening. This is what I need. This is what I want. Versus getting to know that person, letting them be them, and letting them be who they are. Because the love that they give you back in a way you don't expect is even greater than that thing that you expected from them. So really getting them to be who they are. Like he's an introvert, I'm an extrovert, but we're still at the core almost the same person at the core. We love the same things, we can do the same things, but sometimes I'll be like, let's go out more, let's do this more, and he will be like, no, let's stay home more, let's do that more. And that was a friction for us a little bit. And then when I got to realize, like, oh, wait a second, like, even if I drag him to come out with me, he's not enjoying it, so why am I doing that? And vice versa. So again, getting to know who he is and having that balance of like, no, you be you, but sometimes I do need you to come with me, and having that compromise. But I think we spent a lot of time in the beginning trying to force that person to be who I want them to be versus being who he is, because being who he is was much better than who I thought I wanted him to be.
Thank you, Racheal. Yeah. Anu, love.
I can't beat that.
You can. Yes, you can.
I mean, truthfully, I can't. Like, it is so true that, you know, what you want to do is to be able to love people for who they are. And I liken that to, I know you said we're not talking about our careers, but I sort of want to draw the parallel there, because when I think about earlier when we were together and our ambition, and I talked about that a little bit, when I think about what we were gunning for, the things that trip us up in our careers are very similar to what you talked about, what Racheal just talked about. We end up looking at this big, fancy, shiny object. Hey, I want to be this. And I'll talk about myself. So my goal was to be like, I'm going to be a CX something at some point when I was 20. And I could do it. And I've been working towards it up until recently when I was like, well, why? Why are you actually building to that? And it kind of reminds me of what you're saying is, what's the purpose behind that? And I have to find that why. I have to find that, understand what that is, and then it's the work behind it. Again, I go back to the session that came before us, where it's that work versus like the title or the money. And those things are also important. I'm not diminishing any of those things, but the purpose is the greatest of all of those things in my mind. And I do think that similarly, when we understand that, it's easier to connect on shared values and understand what it is about that thing or that person that you're going after, and how to love them in that way versus the way you want it to be, the perspective versus the actual purpose. So yeah, it's a great answer. Huh?
What is it about that person?
Okay, you can't interview them, okay? All right. You have to protect Anu a little bit. Well, thank you for that great answer. Now we have the Q&A. I'm going to ask a couple questions from our Q&A. Racheal, this one's for you. As a high-functioning and career woman, how do you know when the right time to take a break if your career is impacting your family life?
Oh, my husband would like to know the answer to that.
See, I got you. I got you.
I don't know if there's a right time, or I think it's something you come across. And so, you know, I look at my career and all the steps I've taken, none of it was ever planned. I always just kind of knew what my North Star was going to be. I knew that, you know, I didn't want to be an entrepreneur. I didn't think that was something I was good at. I always knew that I kind of wanted to be in the corporate world because I'm good with, I like the environment, and I always thought that was where I wanted to be. And I always thought, whatever it is I want to do, I want to get to the very top of it. That's what I want to do. And so along the way, every step I've taken along the way, I've always thought, am I going to learn a new skill set? Sure, I'm going to do that job and do those things. And along the way, I have taken the breaks I have taken were almost forced upon me. And so I think my husband would say, I probably don't think about that very well enough. There's a lot of times he'll tell me, slow down, stop, or in my mind, I'm like, no, I'm fine, but I'm actually not fine. And so I think some of that is, again, having people around you who can really draw you back and really help you understand when you should take a break, and then really wanting it for yourself. And I think that's something I've kind of been working on. I took a break at one point, but it was almost forced, but I was like, thank God it got forced upon me because it's something that I did need. But he had been telling me before, but I didn't listen. So I think some of that is, again, listen to the people around you who you trust, and being really honest with yourself as well, and understanding when there is a time that you need to have that break versus that ambition that you think that you need to go after.
And sometimes God intercedes.
Amen.
Right? Perfect.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much. Anu, this one I'm going to give to you. For singles thriving in their business and career that desires godly marriages, also, what advice can you give to them to find what they are looking for?
I only speak out of my own experience. You know, Racheal talked about us being together for a period of time before getting married. She says 8 years. I can't keep count. What? I said, is it 8? Yeah, sure. If you say so. No, I'm not denying it. I don't know where you're counting from and where you stopped. That's not intended to mean that she's not telling the truth. I'm just saying, like, I didn't count that far, but Okay, I'm really going down a path that I shouldn't be here. I don't.
Wait till we get home.
It's not coming out right.
Wait till we get
where,
home.
where I'm getting at is, we were friends first. Well, kinda. I mean, I obviously had motives beyond that, but
I thought we were friends. I didn't realize we were more than friends.
but I think that's really helped us. Where I think we're really good partners because we developed a friendship. We developed a friendship that I'd hang out with her. I remember those days. I'd hang out with you and your sister, and we would watch. Oh my
Sex
God!
in the City. Yeah.
Right? So I'd go there every Friday, just hang out, and so we were friends first, right? And then you start to understand again those shared values, and people get to do that or understand that sooner in relationships, but I think once you know that this is someone that you can trust, someone that can have your back, then it's easier because then when things are misaligned or when things get difficult,
Right.
there's always that foundation that you have. But I have to say, part of it is also we're very blessed. In the end, I just feel very blessed. I think God has just been so favorable to us. We have people around us that pray for us. We have such a beautiful support of faith believers that intercede for us, and even when we are not filled enough to be able to carry on, I know there's a lot of people who are standing in for us to ensure that the Lord continues to bless us, and I feel that very much. So I'll do a shout out to our parents for sure.
Yeah.
They've been amazing support in ensuring that we continue to find our place in God and to help us build a family. But friends first, a foundation. That's the term I use. You can call it whatever else, but have a foundation first with who it is. It could be that person that you've always just gone to coffee with, or done whatever with, and there might be more there. But if they friend zone you, then I don't know how that stuff works.
Put you in the friend zone, you're going to stay single. But I love that, finding out about the shared value, about the person, right, as a single, before you get into that relationship. So I really, really love that. One final Q&A I'm going to ask. Was there ever a moment when you felt that both of you weren't aligned on a major decision? And how did you work through that challenge? I'll go to Racheal first.
I think we're pretty good at whoever is more passionate about that thing, the other one just kind of steps back and lets the other person have it. If I think over the years of the thing, I mean, we may disagree, but again, I think we just let whoever's more, like even as we raise the kids and what we think about, if someone's more heated, like, okay, you take it, and the other person just kind of stands back and supports. I can't remember a massive issue that we've ever we typically help get ourselves to whatever that alignment needs to be. And so I think we're really good in that perspective, even though there's sometimes I would disagree in my head of like, I wouldn't do it that way, but we give each other the space to, whoever's more passionate about that one topic or issue, to make sure that they're able to feel seen and heard and execute on that. And sometimes we may pull each other back, but for the most part, we're pretty aligned in most things. I think even though we are different personalities, our core values are very aligned, of what we want, how we want to raise our kids, what we want for them. And sometimes we can disagree on surface stuff, but again, whoever's more passionate, we kind of just let that person take the lead.
That's the trust.
Yeah,
That
is the trust at the end of the day.
That is the trust, and that is the unconditional love. I'm going to put that word in there. Is that unconditional love? Anu,
Yes.
what do you think?
Yeah, I think she's right. In all honesty, I think the early days we went through that, and we've talked about those things. I think it was what I thought and how I thought we would raise our kids in the early years, and I think looking back, having those conversations probably would have been healthier versus just internalizing and just going through the motion and just figuring it out. it would probably just been easier to talk about it now. Because when we did talk about it, I was like, man, I could have done that 3 years ago.
You're looking for Christ in that moment.
Yeah. So yeah, I think we've learned to trust and just I talked about the kids. Like I had to be like, well, if you guys are not going to talk to me, then fine, talk to your mother. So I give that space. I give that space to say, look, I'm clearly not connecting emotionally with them, so you can do that.
I'm sure you are, and you.
In a different way. I don't know what it is. But it's that trust. It's just knowing that we're going to step into where there might be the gaps, and one of us would figure it out. So I don't think anything really goes to the point. And she plays a good role in that. Like, I'm just a very logical and rational person. Like, I don't really try to get into the emotional side, so she knows how to manage that.
How to draw that out
Yes.
of you, right? Again, I think the big battle now is my daughter, and like how much she should go out, and so that she'll come in, Mom, like Dad's saying. I'm just like, I keep telling her, baby, Daddy's just afraid. Like, look at you. The minute you walk out the door, he's afraid till you get back into the house. So just give him some grace.
Give him the grace.
Give him some grace.
Give him the grace, right? Well, listen, thank you both for sharing your awesome marriage. Like I said, extraordinary. And what I can see, as I sit up here and talking with both of you and getting to know you, love is the foundation. It is the faith, and it's in Christ.
Thank you. And thank you,
Thank you
Deanna.
both.
It was awesome meeting
Thank you
you.
so much.
All right. Thank you, everyone.